So basically identifying that demographic of who you want in there, identifying, oh, I'm gonna do a high rise versus I'm gonna do a regular apartment, that kind of thing takes into play.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I would say don't sign the lease until you understand that, or until you know, like, who is going to be the best person to be within this apartment. You just can't say, okay, I've gotten my yes, because so many people, even furthermore, like, again, in my program, they'll get a yes somewhere, but the location is kind of off, or the management is kind of off. Just because you've gotten that yes does not mean that you should just go ahead and pull the trigger, because if you're saying that you want to target travel nurses or corporate workers, they're going to be looking for a clean space. They might be used to staying in hotels where that cleanliness is up, or the management experience is up to where they can say something or have an issue and it gets fixed. If you can't do that or provide that with where you've said yes to, there's no point in you even trying. You're just setting yourself up for failure. You have to understand who is the best person to be there. So if I'm, for instance, downtown, I can't necessarily say that I'm open to, targeting travel nurses if I'm right next to the nightclub and the travel nurse needs to sleep at night in order to get up really early. That's not going to make sense, and it's going to create a bad experience for them and a bad business for me.
Okay, so I guess reducing that time would be maybe creating an avatar for your ideal client and going from there? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you were figuring it out, was it like you had your spaces and then the market just kind of determined what it was for you? You made a conscious decision, like, I got to figure out who to put in my spaces?
So I had the idea of like the locations, the type of locations I wanted. And I would say the categories I was willing to say yes to. I wouldn't say that I pinpointed exactly, but I'm like, okay, I know for a fact I don't want any young travelers. I don't want anyone who's coming to Atlanta and it's their very first time in Atlanta and they really got to do it big and do it up. I don't want none of those people. So it's like, okay, I want the grown folks who are coming to Atlanta. They might be coming for a reunion, that type of thing. So I just had an idea of the location and the type of people that I wanted. And then once I got a place within the location that I knew, okay, this is lucrative, I can make this work. Because a lot of people ask me, what is the best location in order to get started? There is really no best location, right? Because you can make money in any location. I could be, for instance, 20 minutes outside of Atlanta from downtown, from all of the mix of the parties and the lounges and everything, but I'm in Austell, Georgia, and I'm 5 minutes from Six Flags. And now I'm targeting people who have kids and they might be celebrating a birthday and it's kid themed on the inside. I can make a bunch of money like that because I've understood my target market now. So when we think about location in terms of that, it's like, all right, as long as the location can do well in some fashion, there's something around there, then all right, I think I can make it work.
Okay, definitely. So I know you have a background in branding yourself. Is this something that you talk about in your program where you make your clients clear on who they're serving and things like that? Okay. Absolutely. Is there like a framework, or I don't know if you could talk about it on a podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I can talk about the framework. So the framework is public. So this is pretty much just more so like the six-figure framework within our Airbnb money program. Gotcha. So the first piece of it, you can kind of think of it in like 3 buckets. The first piece of it, this is what we're saying that you're going to need if you are looking to succeed within this industry. So number 1 is industry knowledge, meaning, do I understand the hospitality industry? People think that this is just, all right, I can put the listing up on Airbnb, I'm gonna get paid, and then that's it. You really have to provide some kind of hospitality for the guests and understand that, like, you still have to show up somewhat in order to get paid. It all cannot be automated. This is not completely passive, and it's not completely passive at the beginning. So understanding how the industry works is that very first portion. The second piece is business acumen. I like to integrate business acumen in here because if you don't understand it, like we already mentioned, you won't succeed. So in here, this is more so, how do you understand marketing, sales, communications? Because that is really the backbone of most of this business. How can you market this? How can you really sell in a social way on your listing so that people are wanting to book with you over the 500 other people that are also listed in your city? And that last piece is capital. So obviously you are going to need some type of capital in order to get started, but this is really just rating yourself in terms of, how is my personal credit looking? Do I have business credit established? How is that looking? Do I have any cash on hand that can be used to get started within this? Because that's something that can also contribute to all of my startup costs as well. So industry knowledge, business acumen, as well as capital are those three pieces of the framework that are going to get you to that point of saying like, okay, I really understand this business and I feel like I can successfully get started in Airbnb.
Okay. I'm going to just say my listeners know when we talk about capital, we're not using our own cash. We're going to use a credit. Get your credit right. You know, we're going to leverage that. So, okay. So you've obviously had a lot of success with the Airbnb space. Some people that maybe they're doing Airbnb. I don't know. I don't know who follow you. I don't know if any of y'all haters listening to this. Why are people not as successful as you at Airbnb? Like what, is there anything conscious? Is it just in you? Like what can you give to the people?
No, I think it's a conscious piece of actually understanding the business behind this. A lot of people, especially within like the last year or two, they were just starting businesses, right? It's like the pandemic hit, everybody started a business and they're just wanting to quickly get started. So many people thought that the entire business behind this, especially because we have a lot of coaches who are online just saying, hey, make money in your sleep. They're not giving you the real information behind like what's the work that's required behind this. So people expect it to just, all right, I can go to Walmart and, you know, get all of this really cheap furniture, throw it in here, and I don't really have an idea of my market. I'm going to throw it up. I don't really have a proper description for my listing as well, and I'm going to get paid. And that's just not how it works. And I hate to say it, it is because I don't like to say that like the market is oversaturated, but there have been a lot of people coming within the market. So if you just have another listing that's just very basic and you just threw it up just like 500 other people, there's not going to be a reason for me to book yours. Like, honestly, it might not even show up. So I felt like that's really one of the main pieces that's, I guess, it hasn't helped people. It's hurt people who've gotten started because they don't realize just everything that comes with this. And that is why primarily with my platform, Airbnb Money, a lot of people like to say it's like, not only do I share the good, I share the bad. I share when the pipes burst. I share when I get a 1-star review. I share the crazy comments, the crazy reviews, because I want you to understand that it's not all $10,000 screenshots for the month. And it's not all gravy. You really have to understand that a lot comes into this, and you risk a lot as well, especially working on these short-term rental platforms that are, for the lack of better terms, they are the middleman. That's really it. You could do this yourself. They're just providing you with an avenue to more easily reach the guest.
Okay. So you mentioned Airbnb Money. If you're a follower of mine, make sure you go follow Airbnb Money on IG. So I want to talk about marketing. Airbnb Money, you've built up a platform on IG. Is it necessary in order to make money? Like, what's the importance of marketing? Let's talk about that.
The importance of marketing. Marketing is everything. Marketing is how you get your items sold. Marketing is how you get your name known. It's just that avenue to just get it. So I think marketing is the backbone of everything, which is why I was so grateful when I don't even like to say that I transitioned from marketing and branding into Airbnb. I just integrated the two, because you're going to see, as you've already stated, like I built up a really, really good platform on Airbnb Money from all of the marketing and branding techniques that I was teaching other people previously. The fact that I had a real focus, I understood my value, and I gave out a lot of free value. And also I really built a community around it. It was for those people who are like, okay, I want to get started and I want to know what I'm getting into. And that's how I was able to really build up that platform, not even on just Instagram, but also YouTube as well. Like everywhere is talking about this, talking about that experience. So like I said, marketing is really everything in terms of all of that. And that's why I integrated into the program. So that's one of the levers that I had already mentioned: marketing, sales, communication. Yeah. Because if you don't have that marketing, how are you going to make someone click your listing? But like, you have to understand it. But I wouldn't say that it's required in order for for instance, your actual Airbnb listing to succeed. A lot of people do create these Instagram pages and Facebook pages because they're building up like entire, I guess, a fleet of suites that they have, like a fleet of units, or even furthermore, they might create an Instagram page because they have a themed unit, and that's their way of marketing that theme so that they're getting more bookings. But it's not required, especially not with your very first one.
Okay.
But you have to think about that though.
Yeah, that makes sense.